Hi everyone. Excuse my cat. I think she is trying to tell me that I need to pay attention to her. So we are going to talk about string class nevertheless. String class is a standard Java class. However, it is in some ways may behave a little bit differently than the usual custom-made classes, and it is for the sake of brevity, so it behaves a little bit like a primitive data. Okay, so we can declare a variable string t equals to as you please. And that is a shortcut because in reality we are creating a new string object. And then we can reassign it to a different value. Now, the string class is immutable, although sometimes there are some methods that sort of change it, but in fact they create a new string and just replace it. So string really cannot be lengthened, shortened, and changed. Here is two ways of declaring strings. They are almost identical except for one caveat. I'm going to show you that example, but that is drilling a little bit deeper than the book goes. So string t equals to test. Or the full way of declaring it is string t new object of the class string with argument test. In most cases, they work completely the same. So usually you don't need to worry about that. Once you created an instance, a string str, you can apply a variety of methods to it. For example, string.length or string.substring. We are going to see what it does in a little bit. Or string to uppercase, that is self-explanatory. It's gonna replace every character with an uppercase if needed. And that is the output. For example, substring 7. We are starting at the 7th position, starting from 0. So quickly count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we start from T in the. And let me show you one easier example right away, and one a little bit more sophisticated example that shows some fine behaviors, and which isn't very common to encounter. So first of all, string str is hello world, int length. I'm introducing a variable length to hold the length of the string, and it's str.length. Now I can do a substring. Let me actually delete that and start typing it so that you see how it comes up. So I used substring, so this is the first candidate. Generally, it may go according to popularity or just alphabetically. So this is suggestion for all the methods that are there. Replace old character with new character in the string. In this case, we can do something with substring begin index, end index. I think end index is not included, but we are going to try that. 3. Let's do 1, 3. And the last two lines are just printing, so my new string chop should be printed last. Feel free to stop the video to see if you can understand everything in the code. Alright, so string chop el. Where is el in my original string? Right here. So we started at position 1, that is E, and we finished before position 3. So the upper and is not included. Alright, so this is basic working with a string, and in case you are curious what else you can do with a string, you can look at repeat and you can try any of this myriad, some of them very useful commands. Notice that replace can, some of the methods are overloaded. We're going to talk about it and actually overload methods soon enough. I don't really recall if it is 150 or 151. I think it is the tail end of 150 of the introduction to Java or the beginning of 151. And alternative to actually going and reading through the options that IntelliJ provides is string, what else? Methods, Java. Alright, let's look at the docs from oracle.com. So, public final class string, and where are the methods? Here they are. So, for each method, for example, concatenates the specified string to the end of this string. And it returns string. And if we look at length, the one that we kind of already know very well, length returns the length of the string, and it returns an integer. So whenever you think about the method, you might need to know what it takes as input and what kind of data type it produces as output. Alright. And now on to a little bit more complicated example. So first thing first, I created 3 strings for future purposes. For the first string, I'm actually using the explicit creation of the string object. For the latter 2 strings, I'm just using this shortcut string equals hello. So all of them are strings, and the values of those strings, the sequence of characters, is exactly the same. So let us compare first and second string. So this says string 1 is this, string 2 is that, and you try to compare. Now this expression is a Boolean expression, exactly the same as it would look like in Python. So I'm asking are 2 variables the same? See, notice I kind of stuttered there and I said variables and not strings. Why is that? And second question I have, string 2 and string 3, are they actually the same? The variables. So again, one thing double equality the other, that is checking equality. Let's run this and find a surprising result. Whoa, that was surprising. I think I'm going to stop and undo. Oh, it's the wrong file. Okay. String. I want to run current file. Alright. Here we are. So string 1 hello, string 2 hello. Check if the strings are equal with double equality. False. So string 1 is not the same as string 2. What a shocker. How are these two different? Whereas string 2 and string 3, which have the same value, are actually equal. Now the first reason is standard for all objects. That's what you get if you check equality using double equality. You are comparing the variable values, not what they reference even. So variable values are addresses. String 1 and string 2 are referencing different objects. That's why they are not equal. So that's why we got false here. And that is what you will have for all the normally would have for all objects. And if I was to go back to my lamp example that I did previously, create objects, I want to print dot out dot println. Actually, I wanted to print it first. So after I created two completely identical lamps, I want to check if identical. By the way, by double equality. And I say that lamp 1 is equal to lamp 2. So the first printing statement would be checking that they are really not the same. So those are two distinct objects, even though they are completely identical in every way, except for they're not the same. And here, string 1 and string 2, this created a new object. I explicitly requested a constructor of the string method to create me a new object which holds this sequence of strings hello. This one abbreviated, but the same thing happened, so the new object was created. And for the second line over here, when I was comparing string 2 and string 3, well, this is how the Java developers realized strings a little bit to act a little bit like primitive types. So I created two variables which are equal to the same value, and for one of them the object was created, and for the second one they just pointed to the first one. And that's all you need to know about that distinction. And the last but not least, actually quite important, you must be thinking, this is nonsense. I want to be able to check that two objects actually are identical, meaning they have the same information. Well, depending on the object, you might have to overwrite the equals method yourself, but instead of double equality, which will usually don't give you the good results, the expected results, you need to use the equals method. And the equals method actually checks the contents of both strings. So string 1 dot equals string 2. And that will actually compare the characters one by one and determine that this is the same string. Here we are. Let's try again. So checking if the strings are equal with dot equals. That is the behavior that one would expect. So this is a little bit of a fine distinction between how you can be creating these strings and what difference it actually makes. In most practical cases, you won't see that, but maybe it's a good idea to know that.